Okay, everyone. Hello. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. Lots of people from everywhere. I'm Lama Rod. I use he, him pronouns. I'm happy to be here with everyone. Um, it is evening in my time zone. Um, if you're new, please introduce yourself in the chat. Um, and yeah, so many wonderful people. Um, we are getting ready for our events in Asheville tomorrow. Um, so I know some of you will be joining me tomorrow um, for the 1 day retreat on resiliency. And then you'll join me on the mountain at Southern Dharma for the rest of the week, Wednesday through Sunday, for our in person retreat, which is talking about something. I don't know. I never know what the theme or the topic of a retreat is. The whole thing about all this planning is that all this stuff usually has to be done about a year in advance, or at least 7 to 8 months, 9 months in advance. So it's like literally thinking now about what I'm going to be teaching a year from now. And it's just like, oh, I have no idea what the world's going to be like in a year from now. So I just kind of give generic themes for retreats. And then I just kind of show up and do whatever. So yeah, um, the frolic is next week. It's coming upon us. So the 17th, the holiday frolic. It's going to be fun, or something. So we leave the options open. It will be fun or it will be something else. But you can find all of that information for the frolic on my website. Super campy, but we're going to practice some. I'll do my annual book review as well for the frolic and lots of Christmas carols, and my infamous Christmas carol retreat practice based upon Christmas carol. We may do some of that in the retreat this week at Southern Dharma. We'll see. Um, so let's see what else. First of all, I just want to give a shout out to all the ladies who lunch. Like, if you're a lady who lunches, I just want to give you a shout out right now. For no reason, but because I just want to like uplift and support all the ladies who lunch, and consequently all of the ladies who brunch as well. Um, so shout out to you. Um, what else? Eric has posted different links. We are migrating to Zoom next year in January, which you'll have to sign up to do as well. So make sure you get that done so you can join us as we kind of shut this platform down as well. And questions, if you're new, questions can go right into the question box at the bottom of your screen. And I'll leave some time for us to work with that, those or to answer those questions. What else? What else is going on? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The prayers. Go ahead, please go ahead. If you have any prayer requests, go ahead and start typing those in to the Google Doc that had that's just been shared. Um, so you don't have to worry about it. We'll offer prayers somewhere in the middle of the practice in the session. So, yeah. Again, questions, go down below. We just wait just a couple more minutes to let people come into the room before we begin as well. So I think next year, it really feels like, well, this is winter, so winter is always about this, but I feel like there's a huge wave of grief coming um, for folks, for us. Uh, so I, really am thinking about how do we begin or continue, right, to move through that, or for some of us begin to strategize, um, beginning to build practices and energetic supports to hold that kind of wave of grief, because it's not just about us, it's also collective grief too, that some of us will be holding as well. Um, so yeah, so that's something we regularly work with anyway. So we may spend a little bit of time working with grief as well. I'm thinking about. I always offer a grief program every year. I may do something like a regular meetup around working specifically with grief, and I'll use the practices too that I created for the Calm app as well. Some of you may have gone through that program on grief on the app as well. So I'll share some of those practices as well. Okay, just a couple more minutes. As we prepare, as we get ready, I just kind of invite you and kind of start taking care of your bodies, allowing your body to come into a position that feels appropriate for practice. And this is really the first um, level of kindness and gentleness we begin to offer our bodies. I think so often we come into traditions, contemplative traditions, yoga traditions, and it can seem like there's an overemphasis on how we hold and place the body. It can seem quite rigid. And of course, there are reasons for that, as well. But I tend to side on, this belief that, I think we should allow the body to be in any position that it needs to be, right? And so I just ask my body how it needs to be, and I let it adjust itself to its own needs. That means you can lie down, stand up, um, find your favorite chair, sit on the floor, sit in full lotus or half lotus, cross-legged, whatever feels appropriate for your body. But as you actually allow your body to just to be, right? And we're not, the goal isn't to try to get into this really intense position of comfort. Comfort is relative. Um, the goal, rather, is to allow the body to come into a position that just feels um, that where you can hold both comfort and discomfort, where that can be held without necessarily over pushing something away or overextending to grab on, to fixate onto something else, but just like this openness, this holding where both comfort and discomfort are held. And when I say held, that means not reacted to, So to move from reactivity into experiencing whatever, again, is appropriate for us to experience, right? So if this is too much for you in terms of trauma, then, as my teacher would often say, then you change the channel, right? So you shift your attention to something that's neutral, right? That can be somewhere in the body, that can be sound, um, anything around you, any stimulus around you that feels neutral, we shift our attention there. Of course, the halfway kind of compromise here is that we shift our attention between a neutral anchor um, and back to a physical sensation, right? And once the physical sensation gets too much, we shift our attention back to the neutral anchor, and so forth and so on. It's called the pendulum practice. So my goal in my practice is not to get comfortable, but is to find myself in a space where I'm able to hold both comfort and discomfort. So a kind of middle way, a neutrality. Well, it's not so neutral, actually, but it's both. So if I am noticing and experiencing both comfort and discomfort, right? So the space between comfort and discomfort, um, so there's a tension rather that arises between comfort and discomfort, and that's actually where we begin to anchor our attention, is the tension, right? And that tension is coming from this pull, like this kind of this. Well, the tension is what we're holding because we're not sliding completely in to discomfort, right? And we're actually subtly choosing to stay in proximity to the discomfort, right? And we're habituated to just choose the comfort and to avoid discomfort. But in this practice, we're holding space for both, which from that holding arises a tension, and that tension is something that actually we can just rest in, right? And that tension is really just, it's very dynamic, it's active, you know, it's electric. But what is that experience for you, this tension between comfort and discomfort? When you just really rest your attention in between both of those experiences, what is the experience for you? Because there can be this kind of subtle jolt. There's a jolting that keeps us actually aware, awake, active, discerning. For some of us, it keeps us sassy. If you're working with the breath, you can begin to notice the breath as well. Just the inhale and the exhale. And we're not doing anything with the breath except for noticing. So allowing the breath to come into what I call natural breath. Just noticing the natural inhale and exhale, in breath and out breath. And when we tune into the breath like this, it's like tuning the radio or the TV, changing the channel to something that's already happening, a show that's already on. I'm talking about more like the olden days of TVs before we had smart TVs, where you couldn't like um, rewind, right, a show that's already on, right, or fast forward, right. It's just you just had to watch it, right. And this is what we're doing with the breath. You notice the breath, you tune into the breath, and it's just going, right. I'm not breathing deeply. I'm not doing pranayama or anything, but just noticing the breath. So natural breath, also natural body. So we've been working with natural body, allowing the body to be right between comfort and discomfort, holding space for both, noticing the tension that arises between both these extremes of comfort and discomfort. Offering all of these experiences, the breath, the body, the tension, out into the spaciousness of the mind. And all the stuff that we're doing is really creating space for the deity to arise. The deity, it's the deity is born. It arises out of every all phenomena arises out of space and emptiness, absolutely. But we'll never be able to experience the deity in contraction or in shutting down. The blessings of the deity are experienced in space. And space arises when we are practicing holding space for everything, thoughts, emotions, sensations. Right? I think this part of the practice is really important because many of us are spending our days really shut down and contracted, right? And that just creates a different kind of tension that actually doesn't feel liberating or dynamic. It just feels draining and overwhelming. So we want to create a little bit of space of opening before we get deeper. So one more minute here before we continue. And when you're ready, I invite you to shift your attention to the material of your mind. So, thoughts and emotions, waves and currents of energy that maybe are hard to name and identify, but are happening. And we're doing the same thing here. We're just watching, noticing, and allowing, letting go of reacting, letting go of thinking, letting those thoughts and emotions just flow through the mind. And you can use other anchors, neutral anchors, to steady your attention as well. But sometimes, um, and this is something that I will talk about in New Saints, is that when we're opening into awareness, which is a knowing of everything, like there's still a part of the awareness that feels rooted, that can feel rooted, um, a resting on an anchor, right? And over time, you can use that as an introduction, as a slowly moving in to open awareness practice. But slowly, that anchor, you won't need it because you'll be able to anchor your awareness with an emptiness itself, right? This kind of non conceptual open awareness practice is about using emptiness itself as an anchor. But until then, we can use an actual anchor in the body or some, you know, um, material around us, right, to steady the awareness as we do this. And what some of you are discovering is that once you get into this kind of open holding, like there are other narratives, other streams of energy that begin to arise, that we're kind of actively, consciously or unconsciously, kind of pushing away, right? So when you get into this openness, you're going to start actually connecting to maybe experiences of grief or sadness or despair or hopelessness, things that we're somehow in some way pushing away. But in this practice, we can allow those energies to arise because you're not grabbing onto them, you're not reacting, but you're allowing them to be held within the boundlessness of awareness. Right? And the more our awareness holds everything without reacting, the more we begin to um, integrate, or we begin to dissolve this barrier between our awareness and the reality of our awakened consciousness. Right? Because our awareness and our attention is still kind of hovering around the sense of self, this ego. What open awareness does is it helps us to begin to dissolve a little bit at least, the sense of ego, which frees the energy of awareness to actually start expanding into the reality of our consciousness. And our consciousness pervades everything, all phenomena. But we don't know that because our awareness is so stuck around ego. And we're trying to free awareness from ego so it begins to just unboundedly, right, reintegrate into consciousness. So just one more minute here as you expand more into space itself. And so I want to move into just doing a little bit of candle work now. And so when I light the flame of the candle here, I want you to imagine that this flame actually begins to arise in your own mind. And your mind begins to, illuminate, light up, right? Um, and this illumination is the energy expression of the mind, what we would say in traditional um, Mahamudra, Kagyu school Mahamudra, Sambhogakaya, the energy of the Sambhogakaya, which is the energy body. So this is the energy of the mind awakened, and that energy relates also to the clarity of mind, the directness of mind, um, the the energy, transparency, luminosity of mind. Also, this, in a way, the simplicity of mind as well. Um, Even though the mind is complex, at the same time, it's actually quite simple, right? But you have to work through the complexity of the mind to get back to the simplicity. The simplicity is really the nature of mind itself. The simplicity is like, oh, this is mine, right? So here's the candle. I'm lighting the candle. And so allow this light to awaken in your own mind. And in an awakening, you're connecting to the energy, luminosity, symbolikaya aspect of the mind, right? So the energy, dynamicism, clarity, sharpness of mind, the warmth also of mind. And what does that feel like? What is that experience of the mind awakening in this light, this luminosity? What does it feel like to be filled with this light? This is light begins in the mind, but it begins to actually radiate through the whole body, as the body is also an expression of the mind. To be in the light, to sit in the light, to lie in the light. So we're going to transition into our first mantra, which is the evoking, um, the mantra of evocation for Medicine Buddha. Om Minla Sange Kino Soha. Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me now. So from within this mantra, as we chant this mantra, we're going to begin to imagine this mantra begins to call forth the consciousness of Medicine Buddha and allow Medicine Buddha to take the shape and the form of however you need Medicine Buddha to appear in this moment for you. How do you need Medicine Buddha to be, and allow Medicine Buddha to arise in that form? Sometimes I say the archetypal healer. Who's that healer for you? Because Medicine Buddha as a celestial Buddha who arises out of emptiness itself, can take on the form of anything to benefit beings. And so what is the form of Medicine Buddha that wants to form for you right now? Right, and so we'll begin. Soha. And beginning with inhaling. Om la sange hino soha. Om la sange hino soha. Om la sange hino soha. And in your mind, how has Medicine Buddha arisen for you? What does Medicine Buddha look like and feel like? And so this is where we're going to stay right here. So allowing this light to radiate through the body and the mind, allowing this expression of Medicine Buddha to be present for you. And you don't have to see this Medicine Buddha, but for me, it's just a feeling. I just feel the presence of Medicine Buddha. I feel the frequency, I would say the energetic frequency of Medicine Buddha arising and being. So in the first part of our main mantra, as we go into our second mantra, we're allowing ourselves just to rest within the light of our minds, within the light of Medicine Buddha as they have arisen in your minds. And allow this awakening of Medicine Buddha and this light to take care of you. As we move into our main mantra, so Teata Bekenze Maha Bekenze Rasa Sunungate Soha, which roughly means like this, may suffering and the roots of suffering be completely eliminated, and maybe dedicate the energy out to all beings. But you see the translation there. Like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering, the root of pain and suffering. Now release this energy of the prayer out to all worlds so that we and may be liberated. And this is really important to all the worlds, not just this world, not just this plane, not just this dimension, but all the worlds, all the realities, all the systems, right, which I would say are countless. Countless beings, countless world systems, countless dimensions, countless planes of being, countless realities, right? The multitudinal and the multi complexities, right, of existence, really, what exists. And so, in this prayer, this mantra, and this practice, we don't have to know what these worlds are, these realities are. We're just saying, if you exist, and if you are bound and lost in suffering, we're dedicating this energy so that you may be free. Right? But you don't have to think about that in the practice. You're just being, you're just sitting in the light, radiating in the light, allowing Medicine Buddha to arise in a way that's appropriate for you. All right? So we begin. Begenze, Mahabegenze, Rasa Sumunga Tesoa. 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 Begenze, Mahabegenze, Raza Sumangati Zoa. Deada, O Veganze, Veganze, Ba Veganze, Raza Sumangati Zoa. Deada, Veganze, Veganze, Ma 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 Veganze, Raza Sumangati Zoa. Veganze, Veganze, Ma Veganze, Raza Sumangati Zoa. Deada, 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 Veganze, Veganze, Ma Veganze, Raza Sumangati Zoa. So we're going to shift our attention to offering our prayer requests. So we're, as always, calling to the space the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yidams, Dharma protectors, all angels, deities, ancestors, all the elements, including the earth, all beings of light, all beings committed to the liberation of all beings from suffering. We call all of these beings into the space, and we offer these prayers to you, and we ask you to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers. So we begin to offer prayers for Irina and finding what she needs to do with her family and divorce. We're offering prayers for Nasir, for Rachel and the children as they deal with housing instability. We're offering prayers for Judith and her husband Michael, who has entered hospice care. Offering prayers of healing, journeying as I integrate and work through trauma. Offering prayers for the land and humble neighborhood and all who reside here. Offering prayers for my mother who is in the ER and that she receives good care. Offering prayers for my sisters as they work together to help my mom. Offering prayers for my little family. Offering prayers for myself as I make yet another attempt to balance between authenticity and need for group safety and acceptance. Offering prayers for myself that I grow in my connection to divine spirit, that I don't lose the way. Offering prayers for my cousin Dee, who made her transition on Saturday. Offering prayers for the person who robbed my mother's home. May they be cared for and have all they need to be healthy and thrive. Offering prayers that I may let go of identifying with fear and self-criticism and make space for compassion and forgiveness. Offering prayers for the 45,000 people in North Carolina without power this week, and for the people who perpetrated this domestic terrorist act, and for all who suffer. Offering prayers for clarity and relief from pain. Offering prayers to Kelly as they recover from the flu. Prayers to my brother and his partner and all people struggling with substance use disorder. Prayers for all of the trans folks losing health care and being put in harm's way. Prayers for the loved ones and allies standing by their sides. Offering prayers for my partner of 6 years and I who are going our separate ways. Offering prayers for wisdom and inspiration for myself as I recently lost my job. May I find the organization, job, work where I may serve those who I am destined to serve and create a healthy home environment. Prayers for Leroy for healing and gratitude to his mother for caring for him during his period of illness and rest. Prayers for Grace and her family as they support their father in transitioning from this life. Prayers for myself and my friend Sandra who are recovering from rebound COVID. Prayers for Anne's legal issues to settle with ease and favorably. Prayers for my daughter Anton, her husband Dan, and his family, Abraham and Sarah Park, who are navigating Abraham's diagnosis with dementia. Prayers for all my benefactors, ancestors as protectors, guides, teachers, Dharma protectors, and deities, seen, unseen, known, and unknown. Prayers for my spiritual family. Offering prayers for my clients who are struggling with fear, PTSD, anger, depression, and relationship pain. Prayers for me that I may support them in ways that are beneficial. May Medicine Buddha be with us. Offering prayers for Carla, who is dealing with the all-encompassing grief and losing her beloved. Prayers for myself as I am struggling with grief and anger, stuck with feelings of the past and emotionally charged memories of the present. Prayers for Shave Bailey, Shea Eisenberg, Don Prana, and those in Ukraine and Russia and all areas suffering from war, cold, and little relief. Prayers of gratitude for clear margins from my surgery last week and little to no further treatment needed. Prayers for healing of all the energies and fears that arose from the past into this present moment. For all people who have been through similar and more difficult situations. Offering prayers for everyone who needs shelter, warmth, company, and support this winter. Prayers for my manager, Suli, that he may find peace within himself so he may also act with harmony and love for others. Prayers for my co-workers and myself as we experience harm from his actions, that we may act compassionately towards each other, and that as a collective can reduce harm in these moments of tension, conflict, and discord. Offering prayers for myself as I prepare to visit home for the first time since before COVID, and for all my family who will be spending time with. May I carry these teachings with me, and may they all be free. And continue offering prayers for Etta Middleberger, who transitioned into the Bardo 2 weeks ago. I continue to offer prayers for my family, for my sister and her pregnancy, for my brother-in-law, that may have everything that they need in order to bring new life into the world. I pray for all those who are still deeply impacted by COVID and all illnesses, sicknesses, disorders, everything that creates suffering for so many of us. I pray for the eradication and the abolishing of all systems of violence and hierarchy, that we all may experience freedom and live freely, experiencing safety, wellness, happiness, and having access to all the resources we need to be and experience wellness. May we all be free as quickly as possible. So as we return back into our practice, our mantra practice, just imagining that this light, this consciousness of our minds, which is the same consciousness of Medicine Buddha, begins to radiate out of our bodies into the world. That we begin to light all the worlds and all those we've offered prayers for, that our light begins to radiate their situations, bringing about the most favorable outcome in terms of what they're going through. And so we turn back to the mantra. O te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumo yate soa. They are the home beings, Mahabeans, Razumagatisua. 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 They are the beings, my beings, Razumagatisua. They are the beings, my beings, Razumagatisua. They are the beings, my beings, Razumagatisua. Beings, my beings, Razumagatisua. They are the beings, Mahabeans, 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 Razumagatisua. They are the beings, Razumagatisua. They are the beings, Mahabeans, 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 Razumagatisua. They are the beings, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, razuma gadesova. Teata hum begenze, ze ma begenze, razuma gadesova. Teata hum begenze, begenze, 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 ma begenze, razuma gadesova. Teata hum begunze, begunze, ma begunze, nada sumo kante soa, te hada begunze, begunze, ma begunze, nada sumo kante soa. Deata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sumungate soa. So just allowing yourself to return back to this experience of being held by the light. And I want you to offer a prayer into the light to how Medicine Buddha has arisen for you in your mind. Praying for the strength of this light in your mind to remain strong and radiant, right, as you move through the rest of your week until we're able to meet again. And just always remembering this light, this energy of the mind, this consciousness of the deity is always present to us if we can just turn our minds back into it. May you continue to walk, to live, to practice, to struggle, to love in the light. You can allow Medicine Buddha, in whatever way Medicine Buddha has emerged for you, to dissolve back into that light in the mind. Allowing yourself to come back into the space, to reawaken the body through simple movements, maybe moving through a few deep cleansing breaths. We turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which we'll recite 3 times together. May I be a protector to all those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to all those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for all those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space, and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of all life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Yay! Hooray! All right. Thank you all so much for your practice today. I hope this has been a blessing and beneficial for you. And may this light that we've cultivated and nurtured, may this spread out and be shared with all those around us in these times of darkness. And I look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow and the rest of the week uh, in Asheville as well. And for the rest of you, I will see you again next Monday, hopefully, as well. Um, and that's it. And thank you to Eric for filling in for Karen today as the tech host as well. Thank you, everyone, and I will see you later.